The Stadium Thunder is now finished. Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again, thank you for stopping by. So, at last I've finished it. You've probably been staring at this car for at least a year and a half, up in that position. I bought this, as I say, probably a year and a half ago, with a view. I bought it with a Wild Dagger, which we finished ages ago, but I kept nicking pieces off this. I first of all nicked the wheels and tyres off it for the Super G lookalike or sort of project car we did, and then I nicked the front axles, and I was going to do something completely different with it, because although the chassis was in a good state, the body shell was horrendous. It was one of those where, and I've never done this, people buy a kit, they cut it out badly, they leave a protective film on, and they just run the car without painting it, no decals or anything. And although this car hasn't run hard, it kind of did enough damage to the shell to really put me off, and it was minging as well. So I was always a little bit wary how it was going to paint up. But as you can see, not too bad. From a distance, this thing is superb, but as you'll see close up, it's a little bit rough in certain areas. So, a little quick bit of history about this car. Believe it or not, this Stadium Thunder has the Falcon chassis. So I've wrote some numbers down as I do. Unfortunately, I haven't got the memory to retain this in my head. So as we all know, the gorgeous Falcon on 58056 came out in 1986, followed by in 1991 58093, which was the Bearhawk. Now, there were some differences between the Bearhawk and the Falcon, quite a lot of differences, but the chassis remained the same. And when I say chassis, I don't mean the full chassis, just the actual chassis unit itself. And then came the first stadium truck from Tamiya, or truggy. I'm not too sure what the difference is between a stadium truck and a truggy. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. So, are they the same thing? I've no idea. I'm gonna go with stadium trucks for this one. So the first one to come out was the oh my god, I've lost my track. The Stadium Blitzer. Now that came out in 1992 on 58106. It's a good looking thing. Never had one, but it's quite a good looking thing. And then the one you'll probably know is the Blitzing Beetle, which came out in 1993 on 58122. That Blitzer Beetle is everyone's favourite, isn't it? Everyone loves that car. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Beetle shell anyway, but the paint job, the black and the orange, and then the orange wheels, looks pretty mint. And then there was a gap of 3 years until the Stadium Thunder came out on 58181 in 1996. Now, for me, this is the best one of the lot. Completely based on looks. Those three that I've just mentioned, the chassis are all the same. I believe are identical, probably apart from body mounts, that's it. But for me, this is the best looking one by far. This whole body set with paint, because of the colours and the decals it got, just works. It's so in your face, it's unreal. And obviously with matching wheels, it's just a great looking thing. Love it, and these run so well. Anyway, before we get into that, let's bring the camera over and I'll show you what I've done with this. So if you've never seen the chassis before, that's what it looks like under the hood. Again, as I say, Falcon chassis, but that's quite pretty much as far as it goes. There's some similarities from the Falcon, but the rest of it's pretty much been changed. This thing's, as I said, has not had too much of a hard life, as you can see. First thing I did with it, I fully stripped it. Obviously cleaned everything up because it was a little bit minging with dust and stuff like that. And then I've also fitted a full bearing kit to it, which is very straightforward and just makes it all really smooth. Gearbox was in top nick. Again, unfortunately, I've put a sort of a newer silver can in there because it's all I had. I think that came out the Top Force kit. But again, I don't know if this will run or if this will just end up on the shelf. But yeah, I've left the old electrics in that it came with. So So we've got 2 few turbo servos. There was no receiver with it, but it's obviously got the mechanical speed controller in position, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I presume it's obviously, you know, it's 2-wheel drive. Comes with oil-filled shocks as well, and I like the shocks on this car. I like the full suspension setup on this car. I just think it works really well. And then the body set. I've got to be honest, for me, this is the second Stadium Thunder I've done, and painting them and decaling them is pretty horrendous, I've got to be honest. This wasn't cut out correctly, so as I say, it's far from perfect. Some of the decals on the wings are overlapping because it wasn't cut in the correct position. I wanted to leave the decals looking correct, if that makes sense. It makes it look sharper. So yeah, you've got 4 paints on this. So you've got obviously these white struts to paint, then you've got a silver bed, and you've also got to paint that front bumper up. Full can of paint just to do that. You've got to buy a full can of paint just to do that front bumper. Nice. But I'll tell you what, and I'll sort of go into it more. The last one I didn't bother. I was too tight and I didn't buy that paint. But I'm so glad I did on this one because it looks way better painted. That's pretty much it. You know, it's got some scratches on here and there, but as I say, considering the state it was in, which if you follow this channel you'll have seen that video, then I've got to be pretty happy with that. And when we put it all together, it's just a great looking thing. And then I thought I'd just show you the wheels quickly. I've put MCI tyre decals on there, and I just think they work a treat. I think they look awesome. I did exactly the same with the Grasshopper Super G that we made with these wheels and tyres set on it, and I ran that pretty hard, and these decals actually stayed on, which I was quite surprised at. But yeah, if you're going to go down the tyre decal route, it's not really for running, it's more for the shelf. But they certainly do look the part, in my opinion. For me personally, as I said earlier, it's a fantastic looking chassis as well. When you get the wide big wheels on it, it's just awesome. And there's plenty of suspension travel on it as well. And it works as well. The suspension actually works. This is going to make the camera jump, so I apologise, but you will get the gist of the suspension. You can actually see it damping, working as it should. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's bang this body on. So, as I said earlier, first one I didn't paint this bumper, but it makes a hell of a difference if you do. This is pretty. This paint is horrible to put on. Obviously it's a neon colour, and it doesn't go on. I probably ended up doing about 6 or 7 coats on that to sort of get full coverage just on that little piece, and then at the end of that, then I had to back it with white. That's a really good tip, guys. If you are going to do that, always back this colour with white, because it really does liven it up. And obviously you want it as close to matching the decals as possible. Stance wise, I've not bothered cutting the body posts. Just obviously gives you the option to bring it up. I'm happy with it. It wouldn't want to be any lower anywhere, but possibly the front end wants to come up one. But when you look at the stance of it in the guidebooks or whatever, the body shell has got a lot of forward rake on it. But what a good looking car this is. Sorry, truck. And then from that angle, this had been cut out really badly at the back, so I've had to take probably an extra 3, maybe 4 mil off the back bumper to sort of straighten it up. But yeah, I love it. And that's obviously the bed that you paint. Looks pretty cool. It's just such a cool looking truck. As I say, I'll be curious to see what this looks like on the big screen. But as I say, from a distance, this thing is awesome. But as I say, close up, it's got blemishes everywhere, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a must for a Tamiya collector to have one of these trucks. Be nice to have all 3 of them, to be fair. But again, for me, if it's a choice of all 3, I'm going to take the Stadium Thunder all day long. So overall, I'm happy with it. It's far from perfect, but considering the state it was in when I got it and what needed doing, I think it's come up pretty well, to be honest. And again, it's all original, so you can't beat that. I'm not going to run this one, but I have had a Stadium Thunder before that we ran on 2S and brushless. If you've never had one of these trucks, you need to get one. They're awesome to run. They really are. I find the gearbox is pretty bulletproof. I find the whole car pretty bulletproof, to be honest. There's no such thing as a basher Tamiya car, in my opinion. But this is as close as you'll get to it. I think this will comfortably take 2S or hot brushless system in it. It'll take it all day long, and the wheelie, when you put some good power in it, the wheelie and the jump, stiffen the stock suspension up if you're going to jump them. But they're pretty strong. They are pretty strong. Now, again, if you're a modern day basher, don't do it. You're not going to better throw this thing 20 foot in the air and it's going to land and be intact. I don't mean it like that. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd sort of show you it finished because it's a beautiful truck. I love it. Anyway, I will shut up. So, as always, thanks so much for watching. It's massively appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us. And if you do that, smash that notification bell for our weekly videos. And as always, happy RCing.